The wind cut through the alley behind the shelter before sunrise. Ryan Parker pulled his coat tighter and tried to sleep anyway. The concrete pushed through the thin blanket under him. It felt like the cold had teeth. A city bus groaned somewhere nearby. Tires hissed over wet streets. The smell of old coffee drifted from a church van parked around the corner. Ryan was 38 years old. 3 years earlier, he owned a small house in South Dallas. He had a truck, a steady job, a backyard grill, pictures on the wall, bills he could pay. Now, everything he owned fit inside a faded backpack. The backpack sat against his chest while he slept. He never let it out of reach. Inside were 2 shirts, a phone with a cracked screen, a notebook, a charger, a library card, and a stack of torn photographs. Those photographs were the only things he never considered selling. He looked at them every night. Nobody at the shelter knew that. Nobody knew how much those photographs hurt. The sky slowly turned gray. Ryan sat up. His back ached. His hands were stiff from the cold. He rubbed them together and stood. The shelter doors would open soon. People were already gathering near the entrance. Some looked half asleep. Some looked angry. Some looked defeated. Ryan understood all 3. A man named Eddie nodded at him. "Morning." Ryan nodded back. "Morning. You eat yesterday?" "A little." Eddie laughed. "That's not an answer." Ryan smiled. "It'll do." The smile disappeared fast. Most smiles did these days. The doors opened. Warm air rolled outside. People moved quickly. Nobody wanted to lose a place in line. Inside smelled like bleach and old socks. Ryan signed his name. The woman at the desk looked up. "Morning, Ryan." Her name was Carla. She understood. Most people there answered that way. Carla handed him a paper cup. Coffee. Not great coffee, but warm. Ryan wrapped both hands around it. For a few seconds, it felt like hope. He sat alone at a folding table. The coffee tasted burnt. He drank every drop. Then he opened his backpack. Carefully, slowly. The photographs were folded inside a plastic bag. He pulled one out. The picture showed a little girl with missing front teeth. She was holding a birthday cake. Pink frosting covered her face. Ryan stared at the picture. Her name was Lily, his daughter. He had not seen her in almost 4 years. He still called every Thursday. Most Thursdays, she didn't answer. He still called. That was his rule, no matter what, every Thursday, even when he had nothing good to say, especially then. He slipped the photo away. The day was beginning. That meant work, or at least trying to find work. Every day started the same. Wake up, find food, charge the phone, fill out applications, get ignored, repeat. The library opened at 9. Ryan walked there every morning. The librarians knew him. They never treated him badly. That alone made the place feel special. Outside the library stood a row of American flags. The wind snapped them hard. Ryan looked up at them. Then he went inside. The warmth hit him first, then the smell of books. He loved that smell, always had. He signed on to a computer. Job application number 1, warehouse. Application number 2, delivery helper. Application number 3, stock clerk. Application number 4, maintenance worker. Hours passed. Nobody called. Nobody emailed. Nobody cared. That wasn't bitterness. It was just reality. Ryan had learned the difference. By noon, he was hungry. His stomach felt hollow. He bought 2 hot dogs from a gas station. They cost less than everything else. He sat outside and ate slowly. Across the street stood a construction site. Men worked behind bright orange barriers. Ryan watched them. He missed work. Not money. Work. The feeling of being needed. The feeling that somebody expected him somewhere. Most people don't think about that until nobody expects them anymore. A text appeared on his phone. His heart jumped. Maybe a job. Maybe an interview. Maybe anything. He unlocked the screen. The message came from a collection agency. His heart sank again. That happened often. He deleted it. Then he kept walking. The truth was simple. Ryan hadn't become homeless overnight. People liked simple stories. One bad day, one disaster, one unlucky break. That wasn't his story.
His fall happened slowly, then suddenly. Years earlier, he worked for a shipping company. Good job, good benefits, nothing fancy, but stable. He married young, bought a small house, raised Lily. Life felt normal. Then came a Tuesday. He remembered every detail. The sky was clear. The air was hot. His boss called everyone into a meeting. Nobody joked. Nobody smiled. People already knew. The company was cutting jobs. Ryan sat in a metal chair, listening, waiting. His name came sooner than expected. He lost his job before lunch, just like that. 20 minutes later, he carried a box to his truck. That was the beginning, not the end, the beginning. He found another job, lower pay, longer hours, then another, then another. The bills kept winning. Credit cards filled gaps, then loans filled those gaps, then more loans filled those gaps. Every month felt like plugging holes in a sinking boat. His marriage suffered. Arguments grew louder. Money sat at the center of every fight. Eventually, his wife stopped yelling. That scared him more. Silence usually means something already broke. A year later, she left. Lily went with her. Ryan didn't blame either of them. That made it hurt even more. The house disappeared after that. Medical bills finished the job. A back injury put him out of work. Savings vanished. Then the house vanished. Then almost everything else. The day he packed his final box felt unreal. The living room echoed. The walls looked strange without pictures. Ryan sat on the floor for an hour, just staring. Then he locked the door, for the last time. He would think about that moment for years. The afternoon sun pulled him back to the present. He was standing outside a grocery store. A manager had agreed to take his application. That counted as progress. Small progress, but still. Ryan walked toward the bus stop. Rain clouds gathered overhead. Texas weather changed fast. By evening, the rain arrived. Hard, cold, relentless. People rushed indoors. Ryan couldn't. The shelter was full. Every bed taken. That happens sometimes. He sat beneath an overpass. Cars thundered overhead. Water dripped from the concrete. His shoes were soaked. His socks felt worse. Eddie appeared carrying a plastic bag. Got an extra sandwich. Ryan looked up. You sure? Take it. Ryan accepted it. Turkey and cheese. Nothing special. It tasted incredible. Thanks. Eddie nodded. No problem. They sat quietly. Rain hammered the streets. Nobody spoke for several minutes. Then Eddie pointed at Ryan's backpack. You carry gold in there? Ryan laughed. No? Then why you hug it like that? Ryan looked down. The answer sat inside. The photographs. Lily. Everything left. Just important stuff. Eddie nodded. He didn't ask again. Good people know when to stop asking questions. The rain continued. Night settled over Dallas. Lights blurred through the water. Ryan leaned against a support beam. His eyes closed, then opened, then closed again. Sleep outside was never real sleep, just waiting for morning. A siren screamed somewhere nearby. A truck rattled overhead. Someone shouted across the street. Ryan stayed awake, thinking, always thinking. That was the problem. Some nights his mind felt louder than the city. He wondered where Lily was, wondered if she still played softball, wondered if she remembered the camping trip beside Lake Ray Hubbard, wondered if she ever looked at old pictures, wondered if she missed him. Those thoughts could break a man. Sometimes they almost broke him. He reached into the backpack, pulled out the notebook, opened to a blank page. Writing had become a habit, his daily ritual. No matter what happened, he wrote every night. 1 page, never more, never less. Tonight he wrote 3 words, still here today. Then he closed the notebook. Simple, but true. The next morning arrived wet and gray. Ryan headed toward a church that served breakfast. The line stretched around the block. People shuffled forward slowly. The smell of bacon drifted through the air. Ryan's stomach growled. A volunteer handed him a tray. Eggs, toast, sausage. Nothing fancy. It felt like Thanksgiving. Across the table sat an older woman. Her name was Denise. She lived in her car. Any luck? She asked. Ryan shook his head. No. You'll get something. Maybe. She pointed a fork at him. No, maybe. Ryan smiled. You always this stubborn? Yep. That made him laugh. Small moments mattered.
More than people realized. Hope rarely arrived as fireworks. Usually it looked like breakfast and a stubborn stranger. After eating, Ryan walked to the library again. A familiar routine. Applications, emails, rejections. Hours passed. Then something unusual happened. An older man sat beside him. Gray hair, work boots, paint stains on his jeans. He noticed Ryan studying a website. What you looking at? Basic coding lessons. The man raised an eyebrow. You know computers? A little. That wasn't entirely true. Ryan knew more than a little. Even years earlier, he loved technology. He taught himself things online. Websites, simple programs, anything he could learn. It was one thing he was genuinely good at. The man nodded. Keep learning. Ryan shrugged. Trying. The man pointed at the screen. That's how my nephew got out. Out of what? Being stuck. Then he walked away. The conversation lasted less than a minute. Still, Ryan remembered it. Sometimes a stranger plants a seed without knowing it. Outside, the sun finally appeared. The city looked different under blue skies. Less heavy, less hopeless. Ryan sat on a bench, opened his notebook, started writing ideas. Nothing dramatic, just possibilities. Maybe online courses, maybe certifications, maybe something new. His old life wasn't coming back, he knew that now. The hardest part was accepting it. A person can spend years staring backward. Ryan had. But sitting there in the sunlight, something shifted. Only a little. Still, something shifted. The phone buzzed. An unknown number. His heart raced. He answered immediately. Hello? A woman's voice. Is this Ryan Parker? Yes. We received your application. Ryan sat up straighter. For the next 2 minutes, he listened carefully. The position was temporary, low pay, no guarantees, but it was work. An interview, Monday morning. Ryan thanked her 3 times. After the call ended, he stared at the phone, then laughed quietly. Not because he had the job, he didn't, not yet. But somebody had called. That alone felt huge. He looked around. People hurried past. Nobody knew his world had changed. Not really changed, just tilted, slightly, toward possibility. That night he called Lily. Thursday, his rule. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. He expected voicemail. Instead, someone answered. Ryan froze. Then he heard her voice. Dad? For a second he couldn't speak. Traffic rushed past nearby. The city disappeared. Everything disappeared. Only that voice remained. Hey, kiddo. She sounded older now. Not a little girl anymore. A teenager. The conversation lasted 5 minutes, maybe less. School, friends, softball, normal things, beautiful things. Before hanging up, she said something simple, something small, something that stayed with him. Don't stop calling. Ryan stared at the dark screen afterward. His eyes burned. He slipped the phone away, then opened the backpack, pulled out one photograph, the birthday picture. Pink frosting, missing teeth, a giant smile. He looked at it for a long time. The city lights flickered beyond the shelter window. People settled into beds around him. Someone snored softly. A television played somewhere down the hall. Ryan placed the photograph back into its plastic sleeve. Then he noticed something, a folded paper tucked beneath the photos. He didn't remember putting it there. Slowly he pulled it out. It was old, wrinkled, nearly forgotten. He unfolded it carefully. The words on the page made him sit perfectly still. He read them twice, then a third time, and suddenly the future looked different than it had that morning. He did not sleep much that night. Ryan did not sleep much that night. The paper stayed folded inside his jacket pocket. Every hour he pulled it out again. Every hour he chucked the words, as if they might disappear, as if he had imagined them. The paper was an old certificate, a technology training certificate, 10 years old,
forgotten, earned during a company program before the layoffs. Back then, it meant almost nothing. The company paid for it. Everyone took the classes. Nobody cared. Ryan forgot about it completely. Now it felt different. The certificate showed he had finished advanced logistics software training, the same systems many warehouses still used, the same systems companies struggled to find workers for. Ryan stared at the date. He remembered those classes. He remembered being good at them. Very good.
For years, he had focused only on survival, food, shelter, tomorrow, then the next tomorrow. He forgot there was once a version of himself who had skills, a version of himself who knew things, a version who solved problems. That realization followed him into morning. The shelter lights came on at 6. People groaned. Blankets moved. Shoes scraped the floor. Ryan sat up, already awake. Carla walked through the room carrying paperwork. "Morning, Ryan." "Morning." She noticed the paper in his hand. "What's that?" He handed it over. She adjusted her glasses, read it carefully, then looked back at him. "Why aren't you using this?" Ryan laughed. "I forgot it existed." Carla shook her head. "Don't do that again." "What?" "Forget who you are." She handed it back. Then she kept walking. Ryan watched her go. Those words stayed with him. Don't forget who you are. It sounded simple. It wasn't. The hardest thing about homelessness wasn't hunger. It wasn't cold. It wasn't sleeping outside. Those things hurt. But something deeper happened. Bit by bit, people stopped seeing you. Then one day, you stopped seeing yourself. That was the real danger. Ryan headed to the library earlier than usual. The certificate sat beside him while he searched. New jobs, different jobs, better jobs. For the first time in years, he wasn't applying everywhere. He was applying somewhere. There was a difference. The interview on Monday still mattered, but now he had other possibilities. The morning moved fast. His phone battery dropped to 15%. The charger in his backpack was frayed. He wrapped tape around it weeks ago. It barely worked. Still, it worked. A little. Like him. Around noon, he received an email. His heart jumped, then dropped. Rejected. Another one. He sighed, closed the message, then opened the next application, and the next, and the next. The old Ryan might have quit. The homeless years changed him. Not all change is bad. He learned how to absorb disappointment, learned how to keep moving, learned how to survive bad news. The afternoon heat settled over Dallas. The sidewalk shimmered. Ryan sat beneath a tree outside the library. His shirt stuck to his back. A little girl rode past on a bicycle, laughing. Her father jogged behind her, ready to catch her. Ryan watched them disappear down the block. His chest tightened. He missed Lily. Every day. Not dramatically. Not like movies. Just constantly. Like carrying a stone in his pocket. Some days heavier, some days lighter. Never gone. Monday arrived, the interview day. Ryan shaved in a shelter bathroom. The mirror was cracked. The razor was cheap. He took his time anyway. His best shirt had wrinkles. He smoothed them with wet hands. His shoes were old. He cleaned them using paper towels. Then he sat quietly, waiting, trying not to panic. Eddie noticed. "You look nervous." "I am." "You got this." Ryan smiled. "You don't even know what it is." "Don't matter," Eddie shrugged. "You got this." Ryan laughed. Then the bus arrived. The interview took place inside a warehouse near Interstate 20. Huge building, tall shelves, forklifts moving everywhere. The smell of cardboard filled the air. A manager named Tom greeted him. Firm handshake, direct eye contact. Ryan liked him immediately. They sat inside a small office. Questions started. Work history, experience, availability. Then came the question Ryan hated most, the resume gap. Tom looked down, then back up. "Tell me about these years." Ryan took a breath. No excuses, no lies, just truth. "I lost my job." Tom nodded. Ryan continued. "I made bad financial choices." Another nod. "My marriage ended." Silence. "I became homeless." Tom leaned back, listening, not judging, just listening. Ryan appreciated that. "I've been trying to rebuild ever since." The office grew quiet. A forklift beeped outside. Tom folded his hands.
Most people would hide that. Ryan shrugged. I don't have energy left for hiding. For a second, nobody spoke. Then Tom smiled. A small smile, respectful. I appreciate honesty. The interview ended 20 minutes later. Ryan walked outside, unsure what happened. Maybe good, maybe bad. Impossible to know. The waiting began. Waiting was its own kind of work. Tuesday passed, nothing. Wednesday passed, nothing. Thursday morning arrived, still nothing. Ryan called Lily that evening. She answered again. That alone improved the day. How's school? Boring. Sounds about right. She laughed.
The sound hit him like sunshine. Then she surprised him. You still fixing computers? Ryan blinked. I try. You were always good at that. Ryan stared at the sidewalk. A simple sentence, but it mattered. Children remember things. Sometimes things parents forget. After the call ended, Ryan sat quietly, thinking. Maybe everyone around him saw something he couldn't. Friday afternoon brought another rejection email, then another, then another. 3 within 2 hours. Ryan felt himself sinking. The old darkness returned. The familiar voice. The one that whispered, nothing will change. The one that whispered, stop trying. The one that whispered, you're too late. He knew that voice well. Most people do. Maybe not homelessness. Maybe something else. But everyone knows that voice. The one that shows up when you're tired, when you're embarrassed, when you've failed enough times. Ryan walked for hours. No destination, just moving. The city glowed orange under sunset. Cars rushed home. People carried groceries. Families filled restaurants. Normal life happened all around him. He felt invisible again. Near dusk, he reached a small park, empty except for an older man feeding birds. Ryan sat on a bench, head down. The man glanced over. Tough day? Ryan laughed. That obvious? The man tossed breadcrumbs. Little bit? Ryan nodded. They sat quietly. Then the stranger spoke again. You know what birds do after storms? Ryan shrugged. No idea. They keep looking for food. Ryan smiled. That's it? That's it. The man stood, brushed crumbs from his hands, then walked away. Ryan watched him leave. Part of him wanted a bigger answer, something profound, something magical. Instead, he got truth. Keep looking. That's all. Saturday morning brought unexpected news. Carla found him near breakfast. Phone call. Ryan looked confused. For me? Yep. He hurried to the office. The phone sat on the desk. He picked it up. Hello? Tom's voice, the warehouse manager. Ryan stood perfectly still. We filled the position. Ryan's stomach dropped. Tom continued. But another one opened. Ryan didn't breathe. We'd like to offer it to you. Silence. Ryan couldn't speak. Not immediately. His throat tightened. His eyes burned. Tom laughed softly. You still there? Yeah. Ryan swallowed hard. Yeah, I'm here. The job wasn't perfect. The pay wasn't amazing. But it was real. 40 hours. Benefits after 90 days. A chance. An actual chance. After the call ended, Ryan walked outside. The morning sun felt brighter. The city looked different. Not because it changed. Because he changed. Eddie saw him first. Well? Ryan smiled. The biggest smile in years. I got it. Eddie jumped up. See? Ryan laughed. You were right. Told you. People nearby congratulated him. Small handshakes, backslaps, smiles. The shelter celebrated victories because they were rare. Everyone understood what one opportunity could mean. What nobody understood was what happened next. The job helped, but not immediately. The first paycheck took weeks. The first weeks were brutal. Ryan woke before dawn, caught buses, worked all day, returned exhausted. His feet hurt constantly. His back screamed. Money disappeared almost instantly. Bus passes, food, old debts, phone bills. Everything needed something. The first paycheck arrived, gone in 3 days. The second lasted 4. The third lasted 5. Progress felt painfully slow, but it was progress. Then came another opportunity, one Ryan almost ignored. The warehouse used software systems he already knew, the same systems from that forgotten certificate. One afternoon, a supervisor watched Ryan solve a problem, quickly, cleanly, without help. How'd you know that?
Ryan shrugged. Used to work with it. The supervisor stared. For real? Yeah. A week later, Ryan was helping train others. A month later, he was working part-time in inventory systems. A month after that, he moved out of the shelter. Not into an apartment. Not yet. Just a small rented room. One bed, one lamp, one window. Ryan stood inside that room for nearly an hour, just looking around. The place wasn't impressive. It was beautiful, because it was his. That night, he slept alone. No shelter noise, no traffic overhead, no fear someone would steal his backpack. Just silence. He almost cried. Almost. Then came another challenge arrived, one that threatened everything he had rebuilt.
And this challenge wore a familiar face. The challenge wore a familiar face. Ryan saw it on a Tuesday afternoon. The warehouse parking lot shimmered under summer heat. Employees walked toward their cars. Forklifts sat silent. The shift was over. Ryan stepped outside carrying a lunch bag and a notebook. Then he froze. A man stood near the entrance, hands in his pockets, looking older than Ryan remembered, looking tired, looking ashamed. It was his younger brother, Matt. They hadn't spoken in almost 3 years. Not really. A few angry texts, a few missed calls, nothing more. Family had become complicated after Ryan lost everything. Some people pulled away. Some didn't know how to help. Some simply disappeared. Matt had been one of them. The brothers stared at each other. Neither moved. Finally, Matt spoke. "Hey." Ryan nodded. "Hey." Silence followed. Traffic hummed nearby. A truck engine rumbled. Neither man knew where to start. Matt looked down, then back up. "You got a minute?" Ryan crossed his arms. "Depends." Matt nodded slowly. "Fair." They stood in the Texas heat, years of hurt sitting between them. Finally, Matt took a breath. "I was wrong." Ryan said, nodding. "I should have answered your calls." Still nothing. "I should have been there." The words sounded heavy, like they had been carried a long time. Ryan looked away. Part of him wanted to stay angry. Anger was easier, safer. Forgiveness asked more from a person. Matt swallowed hard. "I don't expect anything."
Ryan stared at the parking lot, then nodded toward a nearby diner. "Let's get coffee." The diner smelled like bacon and fresh pie. Country music played softly overhead. The brothers sat across from each other. Coffee steamed between them. For 2 hours they talked. Slowly at first, then honestly. Matt admitted he didn't know what to do when Ryan became homeless. Every phone call made him feel guilty, so he answered fewer, then none. Ryan admitted his pride pushed people away. Sometimes help felt like pity. He hated that feeling. Both men had been wrong. Both had been hurt. Neither was innocent. Neither was cruel. Just human. When they finally stood to leave, Matt hugged him. Ryan hugged him back. The years between them suddenly felt smaller. Not gone, just smaller. Some wounds heal slowly. That's still healing. The months passed. Work improved. Responsibilities grew. Ryan learned everything he could. He stayed late, asked questions, studied at night. His room slowly changed. A second chair appeared, then a television, then a better phone, then savings. Not much, but enough. Enough became his favorite word. One evening, Tom called him into the office. Ryan wondered if something was wrong. Tom pointed at a chair. "Sit." Ryan sat. Tom smiled. "You know why you're here?" "No." "We're creating a new position." Ryan waited. "We want you managing inventory systems." Ryan blinked. Tom continued. "Better pay. Better pay." Those 2 words echoed in his head.
For years, he had measured life in survival. Now somebody was talking about advancement, about a future, about growth. Ryan accepted immediately. That night, he sat alone in his room. The window was open. Warm air drifted inside. The city lights glowed beyond the glass. He opened his notebook, the same notebook from the streets, the same notebook from under bridges, the same notebook from shelter beds. He flipped through old pages. Still here today. One sentence.
written during one of the hardest nights. Ryan stared at it for a long time, then wrote something underneath. "Still here tomorrow." He smiled, closed the notebook, and slept peacefully, for the first time in years. The next surprise arrived 6 months later. It happened on a Thursday. His phone rang. A familiar number appeared. Lily. Ryan answered instantly. "Hey, kiddo." "Hey, Dad." She sounded nervous. That got his attention. "Everything okay?" "Yeah." A pause, then another. Finally she spoke. "Mom said you're doing better." Ryan smiled. "I am." Another pause, then words he never expected. "Can I visit?" The room became very quiet. Ryan sat down slowly. His hands trembled. Of course. The visit happened 2 weeks later. Ryan cleaned his apartment 3 times, then a 4th. He bought groceries, checked everything twice, then checked again. When the knock finally came, his heart pounded. He opened the door, and there she stood, older, taller, almost grown. Still Lily, always Lily. For a second, neither moved. Then she stepped forward and hugged him. Ryan closed his eyes. The years disappeared, not completely, but enough. They spent the weekend together, walking around Dallas, eating burgers, talking, laughing, learning each other again. At one point they sat beside a lake. The water reflected evening sunlight. Lily looked toward the horizon. "Can I ask something?" "Anything." "Were you scared?" Ryan thought about it. The shelters, the hunger, the loneliness, the endless uncertainty. "Yeah." She nodded. "I would have been too." Then she reached over and squeezed his hand. Nothing more, nothing needed. Some moments speak perfectly for themselves. After she left, Ryan sat in his apartment quietly, looking around, thinking. The room wasn't fancy. The furniture didn't match. The carpet had stains. The refrigerator made strange noises. It felt wonderful, because it represented something deeper than money. Dignity, stability, peace, and success was waking up and recognizing the person in the mirror. That moment arrived unexpectedly. One ordinary morning, Ryan stood shaving before work. Sunlight entered through the bathroom window. The mirror reflected his face. Older now.
Some gray hair, lines around his eyes, scars nobody else could see. For several seconds he simply stared. Then it happened. He recognized himself. Not the man before homelessness, not the man during homelessness. The whole man. Every mistake, every loss, every lesson, every mile walked, every night survived, every person who helped, every person who didn't. All of it belonged to him. And for the first time, he felt no shame about any of it, just gratitude. He smiled. A real smile. The kind that starts deep inside. The kind nobody can fake. Years later, Ryan became known throughout the company. Not because he was the smartest. Not because he was the richest. Because people trusted him. New employees often found themselves sitting across from him, nervous, unsure, afraid. Ryan listened. He remembered those feelings. He remembered what it was like to need one person to believe in you. One afternoon, a young worker sat in his office. The kid looked embarrassed, ashamed, lost. Ryan recognized the look immediately. The young man explained his situation. Debt, housing problems, fear, the familiar storm. Ryan listened quietly. Then he opened a desk drawer. Inside sat a worn plastic sleeve. The torn photographs, still there, always there. The young worker looked confused. Ryan showed him the picture of Lily with frosting on her face. Then another, then another. "Why are you showing me these?" Ryan smiled. "Because these stayed with me when nothing else did."
The young man studied the photographs. Ryan continued. "I carried them through shelters." Silence. "I carried them through winter nights." The young man stared. "I carried them when I thought my life was over." Neither spoke for several seconds. Then Ryan leaned back. My situation changed. The young man nodded. Ryan tapped the photographs. But these taught me something first. What? Ryan smiled softly. Survival teaches you what matters. The young worker never forgot that conversation. Neither did Ryan. Years later, strangers would know him as successful. They would see the apartment he eventually bought, the promotions, the stability, the confidence. They would never fully see the road behind it, the shelters, the hunger, the rejection, the cracked phone, the library computers, the bus rides, the lonely Thursdays, the backpack, and the torn photographs. But Ryan knew. Every success rested on lessons learned during those years. Not because suffering is good. It isn't. Not because homelessness is some hidden gift. It isn't. Those years hurt. Those years took things he could never get back. But they also revealed strengths he never knew existed. The strength to keep going after humiliation. The strength to hope after disappointment. The strength to remain kind when bitterness felt easier. The strength to believe tomorrow might be different, even when today looked impossible. One autumn evening, Ryan walked beside the lake with Lily. She was grown now, building her own life. The sun settled slowly beyond the water. Orange light danced across small waves. Neither spoke much. They didn't need to. Peace often sounds like silence. Finally, Lily smiled. You know something? What? I'm proud of you. Ryan looked away. The words hit harder than he expected. Years earlier, he wanted money, security, success. In that moment, none of those things mattered. Only those 4 words. I'm proud of you. The sky darkened. Lights appeared across the water. Father and daughter kept walking, side by side. No rush, no fear, no distance left to cross. And that was enough.
If a man carrying torn photographs in a worn backpack can rebuild his life one small step at a time, what part of your own future might still be waiting for you to believe in it?